WC and cut. First, WC, and we will learn some about that and try some examples. WC, you can think about it as word count. It's not just counting words, but it is a good way of remembering it, I guess. And it calculates files, word, line, character, or byte count. And it returns those values in that order from left to right. And the syntax is WC and a number of options and the file. And some of the very useful options, some of the most useful or common options are -L, the number of lines, -M, the number of characters per file, or -W, the number of words per file. We are again going to work in the same directory as before, which if anyone has just joined is the exercises /typing -WC -cut. We have these files here, and let's try simply say WC. I will just scroll down, and please again type along. Try all these commands yourself also. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say WC and then one of the files. And I will just grab a random file and WC on my file 1.txt because I know it has content. And the output here looks like this. And that is the same as you got here. So it tells me it has 4 lines, it has 15 words, and it has 80 characters. And you could take a look at it, for instance, with less. And if you want to, you could then count the lines, the words, the characters to see that it was indeed calculated correctly. So what happens if I do the same thing to many files? Let's try do it to all files that has the suffix .txt. And then in order it takes them and it tells me each one of them how many lines, how many words, and how many characters. And it does one more thing. It sums it at the bottom, telling us there was a total of 42 lines in these text files. There was 157 words and 834 characters in total. And that could be very useful because there are definitely situations where you had some file where you wanted to know this. Or maybe you wanted it to determine what was on a specific line or something. So together with other commands. So what if we only want to see the line output, the number of lines? So let's do that. Let's put the -L option. And options we will see are often called flags as well. So flag or option means the same. So WC -L, and then again, I'm going to look at my file, 1.txt, because it's a good one. It has some lines, and it has 4 lines. And let's try and combine it with a pipe and sort it so that we can get them in a given order. So now I will again do word count on all the text files. I will pipe this output, which is this here, to the command sort, and then I will do it alphanumeric. And that you can see happens here. So you might just write WC. What happens then? Well, if you don't give it any files as input, it's assuming, like many commands do, that it's waiting for input. And you can escape that with Control C. So that should work. So if you happen to just write WC without any flags or any input. So assume you have a large number of files and you want to run WC on it. Then maybe you won't be able to see all the output on the screen. You would, for instance, not if this here was shorter, like this. See? Maybe like this. So let's try that. Now you can see here the output. There is no room for it. So instead, you could just throw it to file link. Let's just call it that. And of course, this could also be done with a pipe and then T, and then let's call that file link 2. In this case, it goes to screen, but it also goes to file length. So there should be 2 of them now, and they should be identical. And we can look at file length. And we can look at file length 2. And as you can see, it sorted it differently. Didn't it? No, it didn't. So, but what you can do here, instead of sitting here and looking at them manually, there is a Linux command that you have possibly seen that is called diff. And I'm going to assume you know it, but if not, then what you do with it, that you can give it, for instance, 2 files, and then it compares them. And then it says what is the difference. And the difference here is that actually there is 1 space more when you are using T than when you're using this other operator. Where was it? This one here. And we will talk more about that later. And it could be good to simply put everything into another file, because you could also, of course, use. Let's also try to, let's see, I will use history for a moment to find my earlier line here, WC. And what I could do is that I could instead pipe it to more, like we saw earlier. And then you can see the text, all of it, and then slowly scroll through it if it fills more than the screen you're on. So you can use a pipe, or you can put things to a file. So both are options. But as you can see, it might be that you simply just want to look at it, and in that case, using a pipe operator is better. Because now you have an extra file and maybe you didn't want that and you had to go and look in it afterwards. So it's faster and more direct to just use a pipe. But now you have seen some examples of how to count lines, words, and characters. And try to play around with those here in this exercise. And let's spend 4 or 5 minutes on it until it's 9:45. And the first one is use the correct option to WC to count the number of words, and then the number of characters. And there are some file suggestions that you should play with. And then see how many lines in total are in the directory that we are in here. So take 4 minutes.